I am out of words because of this eclectic and extremely excellent mix of women that we have out here. On the face of it, you might think that there's nothing common between Naiya, Niharika, Anita, Gauri, as well as Ananya. But look beneath the surface and you'll realize all of them are storytellers and across all platforms. I mean, you know, you have Niharika who does short form content. Anita is an author, so long form written content. We have Gauri Shinde who's made some of my favorite movies, English Winglish. And congratulations, it's the 6th anniversary of Dear Zindagi. And Ananya tells her stories through her songs. But importantly, you know, Naiya empowers women and makes it easy for women to work while they have children, etc. as well through Baby Chakra and through the Good Glam Group. So look beneath the surface, you'll find a crazy bunch of storytellers, all of them championing causes for women. And before they speak, just for this mix, a huge, huge round of applause. Also a way of warming all you guys up. So, since you all are storytellers, we're not going to talk about serious stuff here, you know, a lot of, you know, women empowerment stuff we will talk about, but through your experiences and through your stories. The digital economy that we talk about, you know, it's talking about democratization of distribution, reducing barriers, but for women, it also caters to all their unique challenges. Women who cannot move out of their houses can benefit from the digital economy. Women who are, you know, not flexible with their timing can benefit through the digital economy. But importantly, the digital economy also gives them access to capital and, more importantly, community. But the world is not equal in the real world and the online world as well. Anita, you've written a book about this. Can you tell us what are the challenges in both digital as well as the real world economy?
So, I think the digital economy, in a way, is making things easier for women. Because I think there are opportunities and there are options, not only because of you know, flexibility and being able to work remotely, but you know, it gives a lot more access to women. And typically, you know, women are not great at networking. They're not great at showcasing their work. And, you know, the digital medium allows them to do this more easily. So when I say, you know, they don't network easily, a lot of times women find it very awkward and even sometimes intimidating, you know, to network. But here, since you have so many platforms, it's so much easier to just reach out to people who you see as resources and, you know, and depending on the response, then you kind of take it forward. Similarly, you know, you can set up websites. Somebody was talking about that, you know, learning technology and, you know, doing all that. So it's so much easier for women to do that. So yes, a lot of flexibility and, you know, other options, but a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurs, for content creators, influencers, and people like that to also showcase their talent. So I think overall, you know, digital is a better way for women. It's an easier way for women.
All right, easier way for women. You have interacted, Naiya, with a lot of women and a lot of people across your journey as an entrepreneur. Give us one story which, you know, inspires you till date.
Oh my God, there's so many stories. And first of all, can I just say thank you so much for having all of us here, and such a privilege. And I can't think of a better leader for this than Shireen, to be honest. So big, big round of applause to you, Shireen, and your amazing team. So, you know, I can't tell you too many, I mean, there's so many stories, but let me just tell you, you know, maybe one. And I think just this whole matter of like, you can't be what you can't see. I think that's super critical. And, you know, Akanksha talked about it as well. Representation matters. I just, you know, one story that we were part of, and it's with another publication, but I'll just still talk about it, Shireen, is a story that came out last week, where, you know, the genesis of this was Monday morning. I was an investor, I do a couple of angel investments, right? And I was talking to a bunch of founders and investors. And they basically were saying, oh my God, there are no women, like count amazing women entrepreneurs in like a hand, you know, 10 of them maybe in. And it made me so angry. And then I think we went around, and this is the power of collaboration, this is the power of community, right? What you're building here as well. We went out and we published a list of 100 amazing women entrepreneurs. We got more than 400 nominations in less than 24 hours, right? And which is why today when I'm here, I know this matters for all of us to see and hear these amazing women come together in this community is so important. So I think this is a story, the power of, I think, two things. One, the power of community, the power of collaboration, and I think also the third thing, actually, the power of just determination to make faces known, to make voices heard. And that's what we're all doing here.
The two big C's, community and collaboration, and that leads to the third C, which is championship for women. Well, Niharika, you create content online, and there are a lot of people who are creating content online. The thing that worries me is the way content creators are defined by their gender. If it's a woman content creator, it would most likely be a food blogger, a makeup person, or someone who talks about fashion, whereas all the motivation, finance, and all of that is left to the men. Why is that happening?
Because I feel like we're only not motivated because everybody sucks and everything sucks. So, at this point, we're trying to get it together. I think we're trying to get there. I don't do fitness, fashion, motivation. I do comedy.
You do fun.
I do funny. And even though people say women are unfunny, well, I'd beg to differ, please. It's my bread and butter. But I just think I come from an engineering background, because my parents said the creative space has a lot of caveats to it, right? It's controlled by a lot of people, and I have to go through a lot of steps to get to it. A lot of steps that may threaten my security or may make the society question my character if I jump into a creative field. And coming from a South Indian family, they're extremely traditional, and they were like, no, I don't think this works. But what social media does is it gives you the power, it gives you the control, and you get to do what you want to do. You get to control your narrative instead of waiting for an opportunity to knock on your door. You're creating your own opportunity, right? And it's funny you must say that also, because I think a big part of me being successful on social media is because the space is so empty for South Indian female comedians or content creators, right? And I hate it when everybody says, oh, you represent this. That's because you don't know the other people. There are so many incredible women doing incredible things on the internet, but you just know one or two because you choose to just see one or two because they may or may not fit the bill of what you think should look like, the representation that you think you want. So, yeah, man, we're all trying. I just guess do more research. That I think women make way better content than men sometimes. I watch a lot of motivational channels, and at some point I'm like, what are you saying? Like, stop talking. Like, it's really bothering me right now. Do you even hear what you're saying? Do you think before you say? And the answer is probably no. But, yeah.
We'll talk about problems first, and then we'll talk about solutions. Ananya, one of the biggest misnomers is that women who have access to capital, women who have access to illustrious family backgrounds, women who have access to education are not subject to any sort of gender disparity. But you put out your content online, and the first thing you faced was a fair amount of hate. How do you deal with that?
No, absolutely. I think the hate was more related to my background of privilege than my gender. But on my birthday, very recently, in July, I got a text from a relative of mine saying that, oh, today was the day that all of us were so disappointed that you were born because you were a girl. And I was like, wow, like, we're in 20, and we still have someone who's thinking like this. So I think all of us face it in our own ways. Then she went on to say that, no, you're doing really well for yourself. But mind you, if you were a boy, you would have been at another level by now. So there are just these crazy notions that some people have in this world. I think personally for me, what I've learned is the narrative should eventually be women and men for women, and not men versus versus women. I think it's all about coming together. It's all about equality. Yeah, I think we have a long way to go. And yeah, there was a lot of hate initially, but I think your work speaks for itself, and people can see through that eventually.
It speaks and how. I mean, not only are you a celebrated singer, songwriter, but also an entrepreneur who has $1 billion company, by the way. So not easy riding two horses at the same time. Gauri, that brings me to the question to you, because she said women and men should work together for everyone. And what a brilliant set of characters that you've designed across all the films that you've made, both Dear Zindagi as well as English Winglish. Every characteristic that I thought of a human being had a character attached in English Winglish. Next thing that you're doing, how are you being conscious of bridging the gender disparity gap? Or what is the next thing that you're doing?
I thought I was already doing it, but I think it just comes naturally to me. So it's not something, I don't think any of us are making concerted efforts because we believe in this. We believe in equality. We believe in making a difference. It just comes instinctively. So I don't really have to. Even my first two films is something that it just came to me. I didn't really have to say, oh, I have to give this character this much importance and she has to make a difference. No, they're actually doing that. And like in my first film, like you had mentioned earlier, like every woman character, there is a certain roundedness to it. Like from I don't know how many of y'all have seen, I'm just assuming, English Winglish, but the main character, which was Sridevi's character, she may be a housewife, but she wants to explore some talent. She wants to stand on her own feet. She wants to make money in the form that she can. Her mother-in-law is someone who wants to be supportive and gets this. Her daughter is trying, though she seems like a slightly grey character, is trying to do something which in her head her mom could not and achieve more by not being able to be cool and speak English. So she's struggling with that. She has a sister who's a widow and bringing up two daughters in America. Her daughter, is again someone who's supportive and doing her own thing. So it's somehow just is the kind of women we are surrounded by. And I really believe at the intrinsic level, like what Ananya was saying, and if in case this was a family member or that's where it begins. Within a family, women support women and they respect each other, I think is a great start before we even get out into the world.
Take your point completely on that. And now that we've discussed problems, let's talk about some solutions as well. Anita, you've spoken to women across socioeconomic strata, across age groups, across generations, etc. The one thing that really stands out is that while most men and other women as well talk about female empowerment, women empowerment, at the basic level, there is a fair amount of subconscious bias, which people are not aware of. Can you throw some light on that, and how do we fix that?
Yeah, so we are all, victims of patriarchy. And whether we accept it or not, it just runs very deep. I have used a term in the book called mentally feminist, because I think a lot of us believe that we are feminists. People like to say, oh, wow, I'm from a progressive family. I'm not like that. My organization is very inclusive. But that's not true at all, It runs deep. So somebody was talking about the VC money not coming to women, 2.5%. Let me tell you the other side of the coin. A couple of weeks ago, I got a call from a woman, a young entrepreneur, and she told me the story that, when she applied to a VC fund, she put her background is IIT, IIM, and big consultancy experience. And she put it as point number 7 in her pitch deck. So they all laughed at her and said, this should have been upfront. So it's that kind of, if it's not bias, it's definitely, some limiting behavior, this whole self-doubt, this lack of self-belief. You must have heard of the imposter syndrome, where women keep asking themselves, am I qualified enough? Am I good enough? So that kind of bias is there. And even the men, these days it's become very fashionable for men to say, I'm very supportive of my wife's career, I'm very proud of her work and things like that. But actually, if you go to see, and you ask them, do you share the load? Do you give priority to her career? All these things don't really happen. So there is this bias even in organizations, and it passes off as corporate kindness, where they say they are going to give easier roles, easier postings to women. So the safer markets, corporate roles, not, marketing, not sales and things like that. No profit and loss responsibility. But the thing is that, if you haven't done these roles, then you automatically get disqualified for leadership positions. So what passes off as kindness or being nice to them, being considerate, actually is counterproductive. So that kind of bias is there. I don't know whether, I would say small town or whatever, there are different communities, definitely, or certain segments that are more into patriarchy.
Well, I will admit one of those biases here, subconscious bias. While I'm extremely supportive of my wife doing extremely well in everything and even better than me, the one thing that I could not take is when she defeated me in badminton. Man, that hurt. But, the other thing, Naya, is that at the entry level, at the beginning of the race, there is not as much a problem. There is a fair representation from both the genders. But as the race progresses, as we move towards the top, that women fall out of the ladder and the leaky bucket, multiple things. 18% women leave the jobs every year. What are you in your organization doing to fix that? And what do you think others should do too?
So let me actually build on what you said. I think it's such an important point because so many, and I'll just tell you a short story, right? So when I was 9 months pregnant, I was in the last stages of my, of raising a large round, and I was in the IC meeting, like the final IC meeting, and I was waddling in. And someone basically then, the end result of that was that, hey, why don't we revisit this in 3 months? And, in the meantime, take care of yourself. So literally I had to tell that person, listen, I don't need your consideration. I need your capital, And I think it's really important for all of us to basically make the point made. What are we here to do? We have a goal, we have a target, and I think it's important to call that out explicitly and to constantly emphasize that with whoever we're working with. Now, coming to your point, the Good Glam Group is this amazing company. I'm so proud. It's like my Entrepreneur 2.0 innings. We are a group with 65% women in our teams. The 2 co-founders, Priyanka and I, 2 women, and of course with Darpan. So I think I think it's a very hopefully equal and equitable relationship between and a partnership with men and women, which needs to continue and needs to be fostered. And what are we doing? Someone said this, right? When you have women at the top, you naturally tend to attract a lot more women who apply to you for amazing roles, who are open, are free, are authentic in their narrative when they talk to you and when they work with you. And I think that is an extremely important part of just setting the narrative right, by just having change at the top.
I don't need your consideration, I need your capital. What a wonderful line that is. Well, Gauri, this one's for you because it is the film industry which has a fair amount of gender pay disparity as well. What are you doing to fix that?
Well, for me, in my organization, I have actually more women on my team. Not because, I'm trying to make equality in terms of, it's just they're better. They're more competent, they're more reliable, they're more committed. And I've just come across many more talented women. And I'm just glad that, I'm just happy that it's the case. And of course, it's based on position. It doesn't even strike me that you have to, it just doesn't come. And I think when there are women at the top, that's not how you think at all. 90% of the time. And also, let me tell you another statistic. In the industry and also internationally, and nobody talks about it, is women-directed, women-made films actually make profits even though there's marginal, but they never make losses. They've not. Very rare. So nobody talks about this, but it's statistically proven.
Now that you've spoken about it, I'm sure everyone will talk about it, should talk about it, and all you pink villas and all of that, if you're watching it, do publicize it on your accounts, etc. But just off the cuff, did Shah Rukh Khan really charge less than Alia Bhatt in Dear Zindagi?
Where did that come from?
I was just gender pay. I was thinking I'll take a chance.
Well, he didn't take a fee.
Wow. Okay, that's good.
No, he was a producer, so to be fair,
He took the profits.
he took profits.
But, and this one's for you, Niharika. A lot of trolling online, etc. What hurts more, men pulling women down or women pulling women down?
Oh my God. Personally, for me, because I'm such a girl's girl, I think it hits me in a place that I don't want to be hit when a woman pulls me down. Because I'm like, wait, we're in this together. Why are you doing this to me? But having said that, I went to a girls' school. We're a group of 10 girls now. They're all my best friends. We have a FaceTime call every weekend, no matter where we are. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am or where I am. My team right now is mostly women, right from my makeup artist, to my hair, to my producer, to my agent, all of them, to my PR manager, all of them are women. I think I have one man on my team that's useful. Not to say men aren't, useful. Yeah. But yeah, mostly women, which is why it hurts more when someone does that like that, because I'm like, no, wait, don't do that. We're in this together. We can fight with each other instead of, amongst each other.
Yes, if you're a girl, please don't pull other women down. Come on, it hurts. That's what Niharika says. And I'll give Ananya the last word. Ananya, everyone talks about the sign of a certain family, oh, illustrious family, son, 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 son. At what point in the Indian corporate world will we see a daughter succeed an illustrious industrial family?
Hopefully very soon.
Will that be you?
We'll have to talk to my dad about that. No, I think I can only speak for my family. I am very, very privileged and lucky that my parents, my best friends, and my team, they're very, very supportive of me and of everything that I do, being a woman and everything. My dad, if I did not have my dad's support the way I do, I think things would have been very different for me. Fortunately or unfortunately, I think when a man in a powerful position supports you, it makes a big difference. It really does. And hopefully that changes one day. So having my dad's support really does help me. I see changes. I see changes happening. At Swatantra, for example, firstly, we only lend to women because that's how the model is. We've touched a GLP of $2 billion USD. My CFO is a woman. The head of HR is a woman. So senior management is a clear 50-50 men and women, and that's a mandate that I've put across all the companies that I run, that senior management has to be a clear 50-50 between the two, the women, men and women. So I do see a change happening, right? Yeah.
You do, and that is it, ladies and a few gentlemen that there are here. You heard the problems, but more importantly, you got the solutions. If you are a woman who is seeking capital, etc., tell those investors you need capital, not consideration. Here, if you're a girl, champion all the other girls' causes. Don't be a mental feminist. Pay men and women equally. And finally, have women at senior leadership positions as well. I think we check a few boxes here at CNBC TV 18. So we're happy, and that explains 2 decades of leadership. But as we do that, here's a bit of a surprise as well. It's 6 years to Dear Zindagi. Not only a movie, but we're also celebrating life here. So we got a small little cake, which we will cut and celebrate Dear Zindagi and the Zindagis of all the women who are here.